Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a very quick kind of tutorial on how to punch a hole in your designer belt. My last video I was showing my SLGs and I mentioned that I had purchased a hole punch, a belt hole punch, in order to make my Ferragamo belts a little bit smaller so that I could wear them around my waist now that I purchased some higher waisted pants. And the item has come and I have put the holes in my belt and everything went really well. So I'm going to switch over now to show you how I did it, and then I'm going to show you the finished product. As you can see from these jeans, so these jeans are a higher waisted jean and the belt that I have is just too loose. There's only 6 holes in this belt, and even though I have it, there's only 5 actually, so even though I have it on the very last hole, the belt itself is not fitting properly around my waist. You can see that there's a good like 2 inches or so that it needs to be taken in. This is the belt hole puncher that I purchased from Amazon. It's called the ProMaster. This was the best rated one on the website, so I decided to pick this one up, and as you can see, it comes with a couple different parts. So there is a ruler in both centimeters and inches. There are some spare plates for catching the punch, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm not sure what the exact terminology is. This is a Phillips head screwdriver. This is the actual puncher itself. This is, I guess this is something that you would start the hole with, and then you can see that there are a couple of different settings, and the settings are numbered. So the smallest one is a 2 and the largest one is a 4.5. And basically you can choose your size and then go accordingly. Okay, I have my belt here, and the first thing I'm going to do is check the distance between the different holes. I want to make sure that what I do is symmetrical with what is already here so that I don't ruin the effect of the belt. So I think I'm going to do the inches. I checked this out before I actually started the video just to be double sure. And if I go from one end to one hole to the end of the other hole, I could see that the distance is about 7/16 of an inch. So not quite a half an inch. So I'm going to do 7/16 and count it as that, and then just to verify, starting with the first line and going to the 7/16 inch mark here, it seems as if that is going to be the best measurement. The last hole here is stretched out a little bit because that is the hole that I use the most. So I'm not really going to worry too much about the fact that that one is a little bit closer together. I'm going to go by the end of the hole there. So based on this, I figured that the next 2 holes have to be 7/16 inches apart. And another thing that you do need to think about is that the holes themselves have to be perfectly straight. So you don't want one wonky over here or over here. And the good thing about this ruler is that it does have like this little edge right here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it has an edge there that is a perfectly straight edge. So you can actually use that to help you with your measurements. So I'm going to go ahead and measure out my first hole. It has to be 7/16 of an inch from the end of this hole, and I need it to be right in the center. So I'm going to take this little punchy thing and I'm going to make like a little indentation there just to have a reference point and to kind of eyeball it. So looks to me like that is pretty straight. And I happen to have some extra leather. So I bought this belt, it was quite large, I had to size it. So I cut off, as you can see, this is about 5 inches of leather here, and I kept the leather just in case. And I'm so glad I did, because now I'm going to use it to practice making a hole so that I know if I have enough strength in my hands, because I don't know how much strength this thing is going to need. I can see that it's ratcheted, which will help with you know, getting the force needed to punch the hole, but you and I are going to do this together. So I'm going to take this device. This is the setting that I want to use, which is the number 2. I'm going to put my leather piece down there, and I am just going to go ahead and squeeze and see if this is easy or not. Okay, I heard a pop. Oh, and look at that. So there I have a hole. That was very, very easy, I do have to say. And I want to compare that hole to these holes, and it actually looks pretty small. And if I go ahead and check the little doodad, what is this? This knobby thing, it's not going to fit. Okay, so now I know that I have to use a bigger hole puncher. All right, after looking at some of the holes here, I have decided that I'm just going to go ahead and try the 2.5 next and see if that's going to work, because I don't want to get too big. So let me go ahead and switch this. By the way, all you have to do to adjust this is to turn it. So let me see. I have an arrow, but it is very stiff, so it does require a little bit of force. Okay, so I'm at the 2.5. Right here, the plate is going to be there, and I'm going to take my leather and do a punch. And that one did not go through. All right, so this is, I'm so glad I have this extra piece of leather to try this, because it's not going through. Okay, it did now. All right, so now I have a bigger hole, and that's getting closer to the size that I need, but again, I still don't think that's the right size, because I don't think that the belt hook is going to go through that hole, and it is not. All right, so we're going to continue on this until we get the size right. So that was a 2.5. So now I'm going to try the 3, and we'll take it from there. So I'm going to give one more shot at this and see if I can get this hole to be the right size for my belt. Okay, that was good. So you can see that was the 2, that was the 2.5, and now we have the 3, and let me get my belt and see if it's going to go in hole size number 3, and it does. It's perfect. All right, so now I know that I have to use the 3, and that'll be the size for my belt holes. Okay, here we go, guys. I am a little bit nervous, but I guess the best thing to do is just go forward with it and get it done. So I have made my preliminary little hole right there. I know you probably cannot see it on camera. However, I can see it, and I think I have lined it up perfectly, and I think this is going to work. I just want to double check that I am uniform here. Nervous. I'm very nervous. I do not want to ruin this belt. It is a gorgeous belt. Paid a lot of money for it, and I don't want it to look like an amateur job, so I am going to go ahead and triple check to make sure that my hole is in the right spot. All right, okay, fingers crossed. Go ahead and put this right in the middle of that hole. Here we go. I'm gonna do it. Ooh, okay. All right. So the leather did not come out, but let me, there, poke it out. And now you can see I have a hole. Yay! Okay, I've gone ahead and made 3 holes. So this hole was the last original hole. It is stretched out because that is the hole that I always wear my belt on, but I have made 3 additional holes here, and I think that should be sufficient, at least for this pair of jeans, so that I can wear the belt around my waist. And if I decide that I want to use this for a dress where I'm on my true waist and the material is thin, I can easily go ahead and add yet another hole. So I'm pretty excited about this, and let's see how it came out. All right, so just as a reminder, the tool that I used was the ProMaster Smart and Simple. It is known as the Master Leather Belt Hole Puncher. This was the best rated product on Amazon, and I think it worked pretty well. I don't have any complaints about it at all. I thought it was really, really easy to use, and there is a tutorial. You can scan the code with your phone and you can get a tutorial video if you wanted to, but I just figured that it was pretty easy to do, and so I did it myself. So here is the result. So I have put 3 new holes in my belt, and you can see that it fits perfectly. There's no looseness here, and the holes look very uniform, and I'm really, really pleased with the result. So the bottom line for this is, now I am not a particularly crafty person or a do-it-yourself kind of person, but when it comes to things like this, first of all, I don't live anywhere near a leather worker. We don't even have a shoe repair around here, so there's nowhere I can take it to get this done. And to send it out just seems very expensive and time consuming, and I want my belt now. I don't want it in, like, you know, a couple weeks. So I decided to go ahead and try it. I figured, what's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that could happen is I could probably make some funky holes in my belt, but nevertheless, it worked really well, and I'm really, really pleased with it. So my advice to you is to give it a try, and don't be afraid to try it, because if I can do it, you can do it. So that's it for my video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions, do please leave them down below, and I will link the products, the belt, as well as the hole puncher, and you can check those out if you are interested. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video, guys. Take care.